All right, let's jump right in. There is so much happening right now. Major moves in Washington, in Beijing, even in the crypto space. And on the surface, they all look completely unrelated. But are they? I think we're about to find out they're more connected than you'd ever guess.
Yeah, that's the big question, right? What's the thread connecting all of these signals? Think of it like a puzzle. We've got 4 pieces, and when we snap them together, the real picture, well, it starts to become a whole lot clearer.
So here are the clues. First, a big pivot in the US-China relationship. Second, a massive new trade deal with Taiwan. Third, a change that could be coming to your social media timeline. Yeah, really. And fourth, a very mysterious $52 million move in the crypto world. Let's dig into that first piece, shall we?
Okay, so our story actually starts with just one word, but it's a very, very carefully chosen word coming right from the top in the US government. And this single word signals a huge shift in how the 2 biggest economies on the planet are planning to deal with each other.
And here it is. We keep hearing this from top officials like Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She's making it crystal clear. The goal is not to decouple from China. The goal is to de-risk. Now, you might be thinking, what's the difference? Well, it's a huge one, and it changes everything.
Right, let's break this down, because it's super important. Decoupling. That's the word that had markets spooked. It would have been like a nasty, messy economic divorce, just cutting all ties. But de-risking, that's totally different. It's more like precision surgery. It's not about cutting everything off, but carefully reducing reliance on China in a few very specific, very critical sectors.
So you see, it's a much smarter, more surgical approach. It means most trade can just keep flowing, but we're building up walls around things like critical tech and key supply chains. And if you're an investor, this is a massive signal. It says the goal here is stability, not blowing up the world's most important economic relationship. And to add another wrinkle to all this, there are whispers, reports that the administration is thinking about scaling back some of those steel and aluminum tariffs. Now, whether that actually happens or not, just the fact that they're talking about it reinforces this whole shift away from an all-out trade war. I mean, can you imagine? Lower tariffs could really help with inflation, and that would be a total game changer for everybody.
So think about it. As the U.S. is carefully de-risking from China, this isn't happening in a vacuum, right? It's a 2-part move. At the exact same time, Washington is very deliberately building up its economic friendship somewhere else, and there's one partnership that is really standing out.
Get this. As part of a brand new trade deal, Taiwan is committing to buy $84 billion worth of American products. Let's just sit with that number for a second. $84 billion. This is not some small policy change, folks. This is a massive, massive economic realignment. And it's not a one-way street either. In return, Taiwan is dropping 99% of its trade barriers on American stuff. So what does this do? It creates this incredibly powerful economic bloc, a strategic counterweight in the region. You're literally watching geopolitics and big money trade fuse together right before our eyes. Okay, so we've got this huge geopolitical and economic shift happening. But for any of these big strategies to really work, you have to control the story, right? You have to control the narrative. And that, well, that brings us to the next piece of our puzzle, the battlefield of information.
And this is where things get really interesting, because now we're talking tech. There are reports that Elon Musk's platform, X, is building a new feature, one that would let you filter your entire timeline by country. Now, at first glance, that might just sound like a neat little setting, right? But believe me, the potential impact here is absolutely enormous.
Just think about what that means for a second. It could create these really powerful country-specific information bubbles. So the story you see about US-China relations could be totally different from the story someone in, say, Europe or Asia sees. In this new era of de-risking and global competition, you got to ask, who benefits from being able to shape the narrative country by country? It's an unbelievably powerful tool.
All right, and that brings us to our final clue. We're shifting gears from geopolitics and social media to the wild world of digital finance, because something very big just happened on the blockchain. And you know the rule, when the crypto whales start moving, everyone sits up and pays attention.
So here's what we know. A transaction for exactly 777 Bitcoin. And it moved from Coinbase Institutional, that's the platform for the big boys, the major financial players, to a totally anonymous, unknown digital wallet.
In plain English, that's over $52 million. Let me be clear. A move of this size from an institutional-grade exchange into a private wallet, that is not your average Tuesday.
A move like that instantly sets off alarm bells and triggers all sorts of speculation across the financial world.
So what's the play here? What could this mean? Is some huge institution quietly buying up Bitcoin and putting it into deep cold storage for the long haul? Or maybe, are they shifting their assets around because they see a major market shift coming, one that's tied to all this geopolitical stuff we've been talking about? Look, we don't know for sure, but a $52 million move is never random. It's a calculated, strategic play, and it's a huge sign of confidence in Bitcoin.
Okay, let's take a breath. We've got our 4 puzzle pieces on the table: a major geopolitical shift, a new economic partnership, a potential change in how information flows, and a massive move in the financial markets. So now, let's snap them all together. Let's see what the big picture really looks like.
Here's how it all lines up. Step 1. The U.S. changes its entire strategy with China, moving from decoupling to the much smarter derisking. Step 2. That move makes it essential to build new economic alliances, which is exactly what that huge $84 billion deal with Taiwan is all about, securing those critical supply chains. Step 3. As this new competition heats up, information platforms begin to adapt, building tools that can shape the story region by region. And finally, Step 4. The smart money sees all of this happening. They see the global chessboard being reset. And so financial players, including our crypto whale, start making huge moves to position themselves for whatever comes next. See? It all connects.
Look, these aren't just random headlines you scroll past. They are the tremors before the earthquake. We are watching a massive global realignment of trade, of technology, of power itself. The world is literally being rewired as we speak. So the real question isn't just, are you watching? It's, how is this all going to affect your investments, your career, and even the basic information that pops up on your screen every single day? You've got to be paying attention.